Deadpool Wolverine just dropped on Disney Plus. The budget for this movie is $200 million. The box office is $1.3 billion. That doesn't make it a movie. Let's go.
Quiet on the set.
Camera speed.
Sound production, take one.
Action!
I was there, aka Paggers. I was there during the age of Wolverine, when Wolverine was coming up as a character. When you and your friends in school discovered Wolverine, you instantly loved the character. You go home, you asked your parents to take you to the comic shop, and you bought some Wolverine. You go to Uncanny X-Men at the time, too. Wolverine in Wolverine proper, his monthly series. He didn't look like Wolverine, so you had to go to Uncanny X-Men. You had to wait a couple years down the road until Wolverine became Wolverine in his own comic book. Up until that time, it was just X-Men. And I was there when Deadpool first premiered. I was there when Deadpool fought Kane. I was there when Deadpool was not even a significant character if he ever appeared in X-Force. And we fast forward to now. We have a billion-dollar entity, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and all of it leans on this movie. On this movie not only being successful, but being critically loved, and the fans have to like it too. That's like your trinity. You gotta make the money, you gotta please the critics, and you gotta please the fans. This movie ends with Deadpool saving and restoring his timeline. And everything we know of the TVA that we first were introduced to in Loki Season 1, everything about the TVA, they prune what is considered the sacred timeline. And the sacred timeline is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. All of those movies that we've seen leading into Loki Season 1 is the sacred timeline. And along the way, you get these alternative like takes and dimensions and all these other things. It's hard to describe. It's hard to describe what would trigger a new timeline. Maybe someone goes back in time or something, right? I think they kind of explained that in Avengers Endgame. But there's a sacred timeline and there's an institution to maintain the timeline. The great hook for Loki Season 1 was that Kang was the guy maintaining the timeline. Because Kang is a time villain in Marvel comic book lore. The perfect guy in the perfect situation. At the time, and I still say, that final episode, it might have been episode 6 or 7 of Loki Season 1, which is 3 people in the room. That's really the entire episode. And then it becomes 2 people in a room. Or does it? No, it's 3. I take it back. It's 3 people in the room. And it's just a conversation. It's dialogue. It's explanation. It's exposition and exploration. And it perfectly sets up everything to come. Meaning, there's going to be this war to maintain and get control of the sacred timeline. Deadpool Wolverine doesn't streamline any of that. And now we're like years and years and years after, right? We're a bunch of movies and Disney Plus series and all of these things. But at the end of Deadpool Wolverine, his timeline doesn't get pruned. His dimension doesn't get pruned. It still exists. So we go through on this big journey just to get Ryan Reynolds what he wants. And Ryan Reynolds wants the cast of Logan in the Deadpool universe in some way. And this is the most complicated, convoluted way, period. If we watch Deadpool 1 and 2, Deadpool's relationship, the love of his life, is the anchor of both of those movies. And we're happy for him when he's happy with the love of his life. This movie begins with Deadpool, number 1, not being Deadpool. Deadpool he's just a normal guy. And everyone's together for his birthday or some type of celebration. Not that it matters by any means. So his friends are there. And this is the Deadpool we want. I've said this time and time again. We want this Deadpool. The Deadpool world is great. It has emotional anchors, and we've invested time into it, my AKAPADers. If I can talk. And then we get pulled out of it, and we find out that Deadpool's not even in the relationship. The love of his life doesn't exist. They're broken up. They're gone. Happen between movies. Get with it, audience. Moving on. So then Deadpool goes on this crazy journey to save his timeline. But what's he really saving? He's not in a relationship. All this fight, all this strife, all this struggle, especially everything we saw in Deadpool 1, is for naught. But we end the movie with the girl from the movie Logan and a version of Wolverine there, and that's it. Now in the Deadpool universe, they've resurrected Shatterstar, because I'm pretty sure he died in Deadpool 2. He has his own timeline. He has his own dimension. It's separate from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He has his Wolverine now, even though I'm pretty sure there was a Wolverine of the X-Men in the Deadpool. Whatever. It's just dumb and confusing. But we get some fantastic action. And we get cameo porn with characters that most of a lot of you guys out there hated the Fantastic Four live action by Fox. You hated a lot of those X-Men movies that we see characters that's just thrown into. So what are we doing here? We have a fantastic villain, Cassandra Nova, who I hate, by the way, because Professor Xavier does not have a twin in the womb. This is how Grant Morrison sometimes can just destroy a franchise, and he's done it time and time again. He has effectively destroyed the Batman franchise for DC Comics. But it's a concept people like, so moving on, right? People like it, I don't, and what the hell do I know? But she's done now. We get a definition of the TVA and what the TVA does, but it doesn't lean towards anything moving forward, which is a lot of what the people wanted. So this movie popped just out of cameos. People just wanted to see cameos. Maybe they were happy for the Deadpool core. Everyone fake got excited for Wolverine in a costume or mask. Like, what? If we take out the cameos, if we take out some of the fight scenes, we don't have much of a story, and not much makes sense. And that's the problem. Now, I'm not saying sitting down, the movie's not enjoyable. It's not entertaining. It is, because it's amazingly well made. It's well crafted. Deadpool is Deadpool throughout this entire movie. The characters are there. But that doesn't make it a movie. I need a movie to be complete all the way through without controversy. I said going back to Captain America Civil War, this was a brewing problem with interconnecting movies with this giant universe. And ever since Avengers Endgame, there just hasn't been a path. There hasn't been any way for them to move forward in a clear, cohesive, fun to follow way. Deadpool Wolverine, it's good. It's the third best of the Deadpool movies. The Deadpool movies in watchability, in quality, in overall entertainment, in being a movie, goes in the order of release. AKAPADers, that's my 2 cents. The film buff has spoken.
Okay, that's a wrap.